I have a confession to make. I'm actually a closet weeb! I love watching anime and especially the food scenes because it always looks so freaking delicious. But I've always wondered if it tastes as good as it looks. So I'm going to recreate some of the most iconic anime dishes throughout this week to see if it's actually oishi! Irashaimase! The first component we're making is the jellied chicken broth. I prepared this the day before since it needs time to cool and set overnight. And for this, we're using chicken wings to make our stock. Soma also uses chicken wings in his stock, and it makes a lot of sense. Chicken wings are packed with connective tissue, skin, and bone, which release collagen when simmered. That collagen is what naturally turns into gelatin as it cools, aka the magical stuff that makes our chicken broth jiggle jiggle jiggle. So cover the wings with plenty of clean filtered water, and you want to use filtered water, not tap, as it gives the broth a translucent sheen. Bring it almost to a boil, then turn it down and let it gently simmer. Skim off any scum that rises to the top and keep it on low heat for about an hour. While the broth is simmering, I'm going to prep some bonito flakes. This log poop looking thing that I'm holding here is katsuobushi, or Japanese smoked and fermented skipjack tuna. It's rock hard, and to turn it into flakes you need this special wooden box shaver. I picked this one up in Tokyo and it's my first time using it. Obviously this is an optional step because you can just buy bonito flakes as is, but this looks hella cool. Once the chicken wings have done their thing, take them out and toss in a generous handful of shaved bonito. This step infuses the broth with that deep smoky umami, like you walked into a fishy barbecue pit in the best way. But a very important step here is to not boil it. Just turn off the heat, close the lid, and let it steep for 10 minutes. Boiling would totally wipe out that smoky, delicious aroma. And after 10 minutes, strain it, then season with a splash of soy sauce and sake. Umai! The broth should hit you with a deep toasty flavor like roast chicken skin kissed by smoke. If we were at Totsuki Culinary Academy with an industrial cauldron of chicken wings bubbling away for days, the broth would jellify on its own, but I'm cooking it at home, not in anime, so we're reinforcing it with a little bit of gelatin. Stir in the bloomed leaf gelatin into the hot broth until it fully dissolves, and pour the broth into a shallow metal tray and pop it in the fridge to cool overnight. And by morning, it's going to be a beautiful savory jello. And ohayo gozaimasu! It's the next day, so let's move on to the second component of transforming furikake, the egg soboro. Soboro in Japanese refers to minced or crumbled foods, usually meat, fish, or egg cooked into little flavorful bits and served over rice. In this case, we're doing a sweet, savory egg version. Crack your eggs into a bowl and whisk them together with sugar and salt. Then heat a non-stick or coat a pan over medium-low heat and add a little bit of neutral oil. Now the key here is getting that fluffy, tiny crumble texture, and that is 3 chopsticks. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Hold them together and stir constantly in little circles to break up the curds as they form. This keeps the egg from clumping too much and gives you that perfect soboro texture, tiny golden bits that are soft and not dry. Scramble until just cooked, still moist and fluffy, then take it off heat and set aside. First, let's take a look at our chicken stock jelly. Take it out of the fridge. It should release quite easily from the pan when flipped. Cut it into 0.5 or about a 1/4 inch cubes and set it aside. Here, I've got a bowl of freshly steamed white rice. Spoon over the egg soboro and the stock cubes quickly because they're going to start melting fast. Top it all off with some finely sliced chives, and thanks to the residual heat of the rice, the jelly starts to melt almost immediately. In just a couple of minutes, you can see that it completely disappears into the grains. That's because gelatin melts around 35 degrees Celsius, just below body temperature.
I was unsure if the aspic, like the jello that we made, was actually going to melt with the temperature of the warm rice, but it did, and it's actually glistening and looks beautiful. Honestly, I was a little unsure about this, but this is a smash.
We're off to a strong start, and I'm giving this furikake rice a solid 9 out of 10. This video is sponsored by Incogni. If you're watching this, the chances are you love anime and spend a good chunk of your time online like me. Whether you're binging episodes on streaming platforms or working digitally, you probably know data privacy is important, but maybe not why it's so important. You know, I used to think, who cares if they know about my birthday and what kind of shows I like to watch, but Here's the thing. Every time you go online, you leave a little digital trail, and that trail, it gets collected and sold. Spam calls, scam emails, even identity theft. It all starts with your data being sold. That's where today's sponsor, Incogni, comes in. Incogni helps delete your personal info from data broker sites and sends legal removal requests on your behalf. With Incogni Unlimited, a majority of your personal info online can now be removed by Incogni's privacy specialists, even if the sites aren't supported by their automated removal service. While it may seem that taking back your personal data is challenging, their custom removals feature makes it effortless for you. Just give Incogni the link to a website that is sharing your information and watch it disappear. Take back your data by using code Doobydobap for 60% off an annual plan at the link below. Thank you so much for watching, and on to our next dish, Ponyo Ramen.
It's him! Careful, Tart!
So I followed Ponyo's ramen recipe, first by crushing up instant noodle, pouring hot water over, lid on, and closing my eyes, praying for ham ramen, but
Ham ramen! Let's make Ponyo's ham ramen.
undisputably, the most important part of Ponyo's ham ramen is the ham. So we're making a French-style ham called Hamon de Paris from scratch. First up, the brine. Start with water, salt, sugar, and pink curing salt. This is what's gonna allow our ham to stay pink. Then in goes the aromatics: garlic, carrots, onion, celery, a bundle of thyme, rosemary, whole peppercorns, and cloves. Bring it up to a simmer until the veggies are wilted and fragrant, then let it cool completely. Traditionally, you'd wet brine the pork for about a week to let the cure fully penetrate, but ain't nobody got time for that. So here is our cheat code, a meat injector. Inject about 1/3 of the brine directly into the pork. This helps distribute the cure deep into the meat fast. Then pour the rest over in a sous vide bag, seal it, and sous vide at 65 degrees Celsius or 150 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 hours.
Oyasu
If you don't have a sous vide machine, a rice cooker on warm setting works fine too. The next day, take it out of the bag and let it chill completely in the fridge. This makes it way easier to slice. And now, 3, 2, 1. Oh baby, look at that cross section. This was actually my first time making ham from scratch, and I was so shocked at how easy this was, and it turned out beautiful. She is beauty, she is grace, she is ham. On to our next component, the broth. I made a light chicken broth using leftover wings from yesterday's chicken stock jelly, simmered low and slow for about an hour, then strained. For the egg, Ponyo's ramen doesn't use a soy cured egg, so we're making a classic jammy style egg. Bring a pot of water to boil, gently lowering the egg, then set a timer for 7 minutes. As soon as it's done, drop it into an ice bath so it peels like a dream. Now onto the fun part, the assembly. We're flavoring the bowl with a splash of soy sauce and a spoonful of chicken fat, then gently pour in our hot broth and watch how the fat floats to the top like this. Buonissimo. Gently add your cooked ramen noodles, lay on that beautiful ham, slice in the egg, and finish with some chopped green onion. Now, with a little movie magic, ta-da! Visually, I'm so happy with how this turned out, but let's see how it tastes.
Wow! Ham! This is what I call ham ramen. Wow! I've never had homemade ham, so this is crazy good. Wow.
Our third dish is a king crab feast from Konosuba. So I've eaten king crab before, but never been the one to unalive it. We picked up this massive 3-kilo beast, still very much alive, and when I cracked it open, and upon further inspection, there was a huge leech squirming inside. I'm sparing you of the visuals because it was way too gross, but apparently crab leeches are super common on king crab. Totally normal, doesn't affect the quality or the taste. Anyways, back to the crab. We're steaming it with water and sake to infuse a gentle aromatic sweetness. Lid on, steam for 15 minutes, and while that's going, we're gonna make a miso butter sauce. Into a pan goes a little bit of butter, and stir in red miso for that funky umami kick. Let it melt and mingle, then ladle out a cup of this miso butter butter magic for the table. Back to our king crab. After a good steam, all the trauma of the leech encounter has evaporated, replaced by sweet, rich scent of crab. This thing was massive and I've never seen a crab this big, let alone bought one, but if not now, when? Twist off a leg and look how full this is. One bite and I immediately forgot the blood-curdling scream I let out 15 minutes earlier. Crack it open and it's juicy, packed to the brim, just like the feast in Konosuba. I've never eaten crab like this in my life. The fact that this isn't surimi but real crab meat was mind-boggling. A big sweet hunk of crab meat dipped into salty miso butter was pure magic. Thanks to Konosuba, we feasted like royalty and we were absolutely stuffed to the brim from king crab. In the series, Aqua shows off how to use king crab shell as a sake cup. Inspired by that, we took a little creative liberty. Instead of drinking sake, we filled it with what sake is made from: rice. We mixed in the crab innards, added some miso butter, and used it to make crab fried rice inside the shell. Genius. This was honestly one of the top best things I've ever tasted in my life. Decadent, creamy, crabby fried rice. Arguably, it was better than the crab itself.
Butter and rice can never go wrong.
And the Konosuba feast gets a whopping 10 out of 10, minus 0.5 points for the leech jump scare. First up, we're making the tomato sauce. Finely chop some garlic and saute in olive oil until fragrant. Once it turns golden, add in crushed tomatoes, sugar, a spoonful of consomme powder, a pinch of salt. Mix well, season with a crack of black pepper, and finish off with a knob of butter for extra richness. Now let's prep for our chicken omurice. Slice some cremini mushrooms and finely chop an onion. Cut chicken thighs into bite-sized pieces and marinate with a splash of sake, pinch of salt, and black pepper. And don't forget your rice, have that ready to go. And in a pan, melt some butter, saute the onion, chicken, and mushroom until browned and fragrant. Add in ketchup, then stir in the white rice. Toss everything together until the rice is evenly coated and glistening. Now for the most technical part, the omelet. We're going for the soft and slightly runny style. Crack in your eggs and whisk until fluffy. Heat a good non-stick pan, add oil and butter, then pour in the egg mixture. Move it around gently, think of soft scramble until the bottom just starts to set. Fold it in half, shape it into an oval, then one clean flip to seal the seam. Carefully transfer it on top of your chicken rice like a rugby ball. Spoon over the sauce and cut it in half. The inside should still be nice and runny. I poured a little extra sauce over and took a spoonful. Itadakimasu! One bite and
これは美味しい。
I love Japanese Western cafe food and chicken omurice is one of my ultimate comfort meals, so I'm giving this one an 8.8 out of 10. We're following Shiro's recipe and it all starts off with a razor, the same one I shaved my mustache with. We've got a slab of pork belly and just like Shiro, we're shaving off any excess skin to make sure there's absolutely no hair left. He also passes the pork over a flame, so we're doing the same, briefly torching the surface to tighten the skin, add a little bit of color, and give it that nice smoky smell. Next, drop the pork belly into a pot of boiling water to blanch it, and while that's going, let's make the braising sauce. A mix of soy sauce, sugar, sake, dark soy sauce, and water. Once the pork is blanched, transfer it into the sauce and give it a good massage to help all the flavors soak in, and let it marinate for 10 minutes. Then take it out, let the excess drip off, and sear it in a heavy-duty pan with a generous amount of oil. You want to place the skin side down first and move it around to crisp up every side evenly. This step is essential. It locks in the moisture and helps the pork belly hold its shape when we steam it. Once it's looking beautifully seared and charred, lay a few slices of ginger on top, pour the sauce over, and add some star anise. Cover and let that steam gently for 2 hours. After 2 hours,
Let me show you how soft and supple this is.
a chopstick should slide straight into the pork belly with no resistance. And look at this cross section. It's so juicy, it literally squirted.
Whoa.
Cut it into thick, satisfying pieces and pour over that glossy sauce, now fully infused with pork fat. And there you have it, Oishinbo's Donburi.
So this is the first Donburi that I've actually steamed instead of braising. Who has time to steam for 2 hours? But look at this.
One bite and I was transported into a salty, meaty jello world that left me speechless and made Kevin's leg give out. A whopping 9 out of 10.
おやすみなさい。
よし、完成じゃ。
Dish 7 is man-eating plant tart. Because sadly my local grocery store didn't carry any man-eating plants, we're going with the next closest thing, bell peppers. I'm steaming them along with some cute potatoes for 10 minutes. This helps loosen the skin. Once they're cool, the skin should peel right off. Get a heavy-duty skillet or pie mold and start lining it with the steamed and peeled bell peppers, flat like you're building a tart crust. Now for the filling, think somewhere between like Spanish pimientos and tortilla, eggs, heavy cream, salt, black pepper, whisk it all together. I also roasted some baby shallots in the oven with oil until they look like this. Into our bell pepper crust goes potatoes, cherry tomatoes, roasted shallots, chunks of Emmental cheese, and the egg mixture. Bake this at 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit on the lower rack for 45 minutes and pray that it comes out okay. When the top is golden and puffed, it's ready to come out, and honestly, I didn't expect this to look good, but it came out looking fire. Like, look at this cross section. It looks like something straight out of Delicious Dungeon. I'm so proud of myself.
I actually didn't expect this to be tasty. I'm giving this 9 out of 10. What the heck?
This ended up being a huge hit with my family. We finished the whole thing for brunch. Definitely a labor of love, but a healthy and filling recipe. We're moving on to Sanji's curry, and honestly this recipe is super detailed. It all starts with a blend of spices: cinnamon, cumin, clove, mustard seed, coriander seed, and cardamom pods. Basically, we're making our own. I tried to grind it all in a mortar and pestle just like Sanji did, but it didn't work, so I blended mine in a food processor. Next, the meat. Cut it into bite-sized cubes, then add garlic, turmeric, yogurt, salt, and pepper. Give it a good massage and let it marinate for 1 hour. Meanwhile, blanch the tomatoes, score the tops, drop them in boiling water, then into the ice water to slip off the skin. Now for the base, saute onions and butter until they caramelize into a jammy, golden beauty. Set that aside, then we make the roux. Starting with pork lard and flour, toast it until it looks golden brown. Then we add in our curry powder and the garam masala that we made earlier. Toast it until it becomes a thick paste that resembles dog poop, but smells amazing. Now we're making the curry. First in are carrots and potatoes, then stir in the roux, pour in the stock, and let all of that simmer. Add in the blanched tomatoes, the marinated meat, and the jammy onion. Take a bite of the apple to realize that it's the perfect sweet contrast and grate it in. Let the whole thing simmer for an hour until it thickens into that deep, rich curry texture. Spoon it over rice. And yes, the difference between making your own roux versus using store-bought curry block, it's massive, plus 1 hour of your time gone forever, but this is really, really tasty.
Wow. Do you know why I like curry? It's because I'm Korean.
10 out of 10 joke and a 9.3 for the curry. For our first component, we need Chashu is braised or simmered pork belly, and it is the crowning queen of the ramen bowl. Today we're making the rolled version, so we're doing a little pork bondage. Tightly roll up the pork belly and secure it with kitchen twine. Now for the marinade, combine dashi stock, sugar, soy, sake, and our aromatics, ginger and green onion stems. Simmer until it comes up to temperature and the sugar fully dissolves. Then place your meat log into a plastic bag and pour over the hot soy mixture. Seal it up and sous vide for 65 degrees Celsius for 10 hours. Here I've got some pork bones that's been soaking overnight in the fridge. This helps draw out the blood and impurities ahead of time. I'm using pork femurs, which is the shin bone, to make a fast tonkotsu broth utilizing a pressure cooker. This recipe is inspired by the legendary ramen lord on Reddit. First step is to blanch these bones in boiling water. This gets rid of all the gunk, the sediments and scum and impurities for about 15 minutes, then cold shock them in a bowl of ice water and let them sit for 10 minutes. This not only stops the cooking but helps clean them further. Now into the pressure cooker they go with a fresh pot of water. Cook on high pressure for 2 hours, and when you open it up, everything's gonna be turned into meat jello like this, and you can see all the connective tissues and the knuckles transformed into pure gelatinous gold. I transferred it to a larger pot to get proper rolling boil going. This step emulsifies the fats, giving the broth that signature creamy white tonkotsu color. And just look at her, she's creamy like your boyfriend. Once the fat's emulsified, sieve some of the excess sediments and you have milky white, creamy bone broth. We're starting by pickling some bamboo shoots using the tomato jangachi marinade I made from our 100 banchan video. Bring the marinade up to a simmer, then drop in the sliced bamboo shoots and let them soak up all that tangy umami flavor. Now it's time to take out our chashu. First, remove the twine we used to roll the pork belly, then smear a little neutral oil and hit it with a torch, just enough to get a nice even char on the outside. Slice it into thin strips and you can see that the center is still perfectly pink. That's thanks to myoglobin from cooking the meat low and slow. Now for the most exciting part, the assembly. Into the bowl goes in 1 tablespoon of miso, 1 tablespoon of our chashu marinade, mix it together, then add 1 teaspoon of chili oil for that pop of color. Pour in our beautiful milky white tonkotsu broth. Next, gently add in the noodles, lay over the chashu, the pickled bamboo shoots, and a shit ton of thinly sliced green onions. Top it off with Naruto fish cake and of course an egg, right smack dab in the center like a little crown. And there you have picture perfect Naruto ramen.
So tender.
Making miso ramen is a rite of passage for all cooks. It's gonna be tiring, but trust me, well worth it at the end. Miso ramen gets 8.8 out of 10. I've got some freshly cooked white rice, but I'm letting it cool just slightly, covered with a towel so the moisture doesn't escape. That way it's still warm but not hot enough to burn my hands. To make yaki onigiri, you want each rice ball to be about 1 cup, fluffy but not packed too tight. Keep a bowl of water nearby and wet your hands as you go so the rice doesn't stick. Start by forming it into a ball, then gently shape it into a triangle into the classic onigiri shape. Once you've shaped them all, set them aside and let's make the miso glaze. It's just miso, soy sauce, sugar, and a little sesame oil. Stir it all together, brush one side of the onigiri with the glaze and place it face down on the grill. Glaze the other side, flip and keep going, brushing and flipping until both sides are golden and caramelized. This is my first time grilling yaki onigiri on direct heat. Really good. It was a little tricky, not gonna lie, but it's really, really good. Next time, if I ever go camping, I'll definitely be remaking this. Grilled miso onigiri, 9.6 out of 10. Kaisendon is a Japanese rice bowl topped off with a variety of fresh seafood, and you can think of it basically as a gigantic sushi bowl. I picked up this beautiful white hamachi along with some fatty tuna and salmon, all thinly sliced and set aside. Now let's make the sushi vinegar. In a bowl goes rice vinegar, sugar, and salt. Mix until fully dissolved. Pour it over the rice using the back of a ladle to help evenly distribute it without smashing the grains. Let the rice cool slightly. You want it to be warm, not hot, so it doesn't cook the fish. Scoop the rice into your bowl nice and fluffy. Don't press it down. And now comes the fun part, layering the fish. Start with a bed of shiso, then hamachi, salmon, tuna, snow shrimp, uni, and top it all off with ikura, aka marinated salmon eggs. And that's it.
Irashaimase! Too much tuna. This is the easiest dish we've made so far. Can you believe that?
Kaisendon is determined by how fresh your seafood is, and after a week of heavy meals, this was the perfect bowl. 9 out of 10.
Oyasumi nasai.
Okay, this is my attempt dressing like Grandma Sophie from Howl's Moving Castles.
Hi, I'm Grandma Doobie.
So I borrowed my mom's dress. I feel like this is one of the most iconic food scenes in anime history. Even though the food itself looks really simple, it's something that we all love. Bacon and eggs. Start with 2 thick slabs of bacon. Flip once crispy and crack in your eggs. Then I fed my eggs to my calcifer.
Oh no, Oh shit, it's burning.
But it didn't seem to eat it for some reason. Once the eggs have started to set, it's ready to be served. I got my Danish Howl, now shaved, to serve it to me along with some coffee in a bowl. This tastes exactly like what you would expect, bacon and eggs.
I love bacon. Classic breakfast. 8 out of 10.
There you go. Wrap it up so it stays fresh, okay?
Totoro was the first Ghibli movie I ever watched.
Totoro, Totoro.
Anyways, on Totoro's bento box, the fluffy pink stuff that you see is called sakura denbu. Literally translated, it means cherry blossom fish flakes. It's a sweet, pink, fluffy fish condiment made by cooking and finely shredding white fish, usually cod. So that's what we're doing here. First, by gently poaching the fish in dashi stock, then once it's cooked through, fish it out, and squeeze out the excess liquid with a cheesecloth. In a separate pan, add sugar, mirin, and the cooked fish. Mix it with a spatula, mashing and stirring until it turns into a light, fluffy texture like this. And to get that iconic pink color, I drizzled in a little bit of umeboshi juice, aka the sour, salty, pickled plum. Sakura denbu is often used in sushi or bento for color and just a touch of sweetness, and now you know how to make it. We also roasted a Japanese ice fish with a little oil until roasty and toasty on both sides. Now it's time to assemble our bento box. First up, a bed of warm white rice, then sprinkle in the edamame for a pop of green. Add our fluffy sakura denbu fish flakes, sweet, pink, and delicate, and right in the center, like a little jewel, one tart umeboshi. It's not a real bento without a picnic, so we took our bento outside and look at her. Art mimics life. Needless to say, the combination of sweet and fluffy cod, I mean, maybe if it was something that I grew up with, but unfortunately at this time, a 2 out of 10. So to answer my burning question at the start of this video, does anime food actually taste good? Yes, absolutely. This was such a fun week to really hone in on some technical Japanese cooking skills. I was genuinely surprised at how much detail a lot of these anime put into the instructions, and it made me appreciate how intentional the food scenes really are. It's like they want you to almost recreate it. So if you want to try out the dishes, all measurements are underneath in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if there's any other anime you want me to try out for a week, let me know in the comments below. Okay, bye bye. Love you.